Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, McQueen. Hi. Oh. Are we going to do our podcast like this? Or a wannabe web stream, whatever I call this? Thank you. Hello, Mr. McQueen. Oh. My other doggo, this one that's getting jealous. He's missing his teeth up here. So his tongue sticks out like that when he's just like sitting like
Yeah, he's had more dental work than I've had.
Man. Oh, and there's another one. You popped out of the burrito blanket. Joey. What are you doing? Do you see your friend? Like, I wanna hang out with that guy. He looks fun. What's your dog's name?
His name is Bubba.
Hi, Bubba. How much dental work did he have to go through?
Like $4,000 worth of dental work.
Oh, yeah, that was this guy, Mr. Potato. Whenever he decides to stop being like giving me the cold shoulder right now because I got McQueen in my lap. But thankfully the estate helped us out with that one. He had to get neutered first off because that's how I inherited him when Ryan's grandparents passed away. They passed away on the same day, like the Notebook, and his little like dying wish was like, find a home for my little dude, you know. So I was like, oh, I'll foster. And then I like remember the moment I realized he loved me. Like I was like, oh, now it's done. So he's mine now. But on top of neutering 14 teeth. That's how many were so bad and like already rotten because out of love, Grandpa was feeding him this little meatball and no kibbles and like not brushing. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, he's 14. He was a breeding dog, and I don't think they ever did any work on him. He's like the Genghis Khan of Shih Tzus. He had like a bunch of litters. So if you see Shih Tzus in the Bronx, they might be his puppies.
Oh, Mr. Man, come here, Potato. You gotta tell your friend it's okay. Carter's gonna make it okay, even though her teeth are crazy.
But he doesn't need teeth. He does fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would probably appreciate his teeth. He's like, I still have on my teeth. What are you talking about, lady? I'm also not overweight. How dare you? This is a distinguished role. You're always calling me a fatty, mommy. We gotta work on that. It's been too hot, so I've been neglecting. Like I still take him out, but
yeah, he just got shaved. That's why he has his mohawk.
Oh, he's so cute. Okay, commence with the doggies and lap session. Just kidding. Best meeting ever. Oh, and then now the last one. Apparently, too many dogs. She's not going to jump up, but she's like, what's happening? Because, of course, they called them the bitch for the reason. She's the fun police is what we tell her. She's the best. But, like, as soon as the other dogs, they're all boys. So we call them, of course, the pee-pee boys. She's like, you're being a stupid pee-pee boy. Yes, I'm talking about you. And she'll just come. She's part corgi and then something else. So she gets that corgi, like, I'm right, you're wrong. Like, sheepdog thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. You're looking so
smart. I got him right before the pandemic. So he's, like, never been alone. So he is codependent and attached at the hip and sits with me all the time.
I love that. How come I never get to see him at the shows? I guess that's hard for dogs.
Yeah, like, because he will really, truly need to be with me all the time. And, like, I don't want to have to figure out taking him to restaurants.
Oh, hey, you guys are not in this segment. Yeah, right. Or, like, it gets hard to work. And, like, I say the things that come out of my head, but then it's also.
Yeah, like, yeah. So I have a partner. He stays with my partner. So, luckily.
Oh, good. Yeah.
He gets to be home with someone.
I don't know. We're thinking about doing some sort of a trip in November, but I'm like, who's going to stay with the dogs?
Yeah.
You. I'm talking to you. Are you sassing? Uh-huh. Yeah, we're all crabby. It's been hot still.
Yeah, it's still hot in New York. It's like still reaching like 80, which is hot for me.
Well, you guys at least have like you have humidity to deal with, so it kind of makes it hotter, but like less hot at the same time.
Exactly, because it'll get cooler at night and like cool in the mornings, and then like by the afternoon I'm like sweaty.
I feel like I'm just sweaty all the time, and then I'm freezing. Thank you, hormones. That's a whole other episode, right? Yeah. I don't know why we can figure out whatever. We spent 100 years figuring out how to make sure the penis works correctly. But we haven't figured out like PCOS yet? Like, you think we would have figured it out? No. Or like even the pituitary gland, we don't really understand it. We don't know what it does. We just know that it supervises other organs to do the things, but like, why can't the organ just do the thing? It's crazy, but here we are. Hormones are interesting. If it's just my PSA, and then we'll get to the stuff. If somebody out there
that you're born without your like inner vulva lips, and that when you're like in like pre-K kindergarten, they're actually growing, and that's why little girls like put their hands in their pants because it's like itchy and growing.
They're like, there's like stuff is happening besides stuff happening.
So like they're touching down there because like stuff's happening, and like they're feeling around. They're like, what's going on? And like they're not just like touching because it feels good. They're touching because like stuff's happening and stuff's growing. And like if doctors would frame it in that, you know, way for parents, like I'm sure that they would, you know,
they'd approach it a little, because maybe they wouldn't feel either their own shame, like, oh my god, now my kid, I don't want my kid to grow up to be the pee-pee toucher or whatever it is. So they react, or you know, it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, don't do anything kind of reaction. I don't know. Anyways, that is interesting, but also hormones are interesting, everybody, right? So if someone's going crazy in your life and they haven't been able to, and they're over 40 and they haven't checked their hormones, maybe just help them out there, because the life hasn't been easy. That's all I'm gonna say. You gotta spend time learning how to ride the estrogen dragon. All right, it gets crazy.
Flips when you get older, because then they start to shrink, and that's why things get like, you know, itchy or dry or whatever, and you know, you have the opposite problem,
right? And that's like, and again, me just like learning about, you think all like people know these things like normal, and they don't.
No one inherently knows this.
Right. I learn. This is maybe like the whole excuse of the entire reason I make episodes weekly, right? I get to learn something, so I hope somebody else does. But like, I don't know, it's like a good reason for me to like work, right?
I mean, I'm always learning. That's why I love this job.
But so it's exactly right. There's like there's like so many different like approaches and angles to look at things, right, in a learning way. But also there's so much new information and stuff that is new too. So it's not just like, if you didn't know, right? But also, hey, this just came out. We can do A, B, and C things.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's hard to keep up though. So
absolutely.
Again, here's a reason. Okay, I'll just do my quick. Well, I'll do the intro for real later. So we'll pretend like we've had an intro, and then I can cut all this BS out or keep it, and we'll just talk about our dogs for a minute. But therein lies the excuse of the wannabe show, right? Someday, like all this information will need to go somewhere, right? Maybe 100 years from now, someone will care that this is what the industry looks like, guys. Dogs on chicks' laps. Okay, so we'll just pretend like I did the stuff. I'll be like, oh my god, we got a Carly, and then we'll just go into the guest introduction section. We'll pretend like I did the things, and then like, okay, hey, Carly, I'm gonna give you and Bubba the floor for a minute, right? Tell us all the cool things and why everybody should care, because it's badass.
Whenever I'm put on the spot, I always forget all the things that I do.
Do you want me to read the blurb?
Sure.
Some blurb, right? So I'll do the share Carly's bio, right? Emphasizing her credentials, nominations for XBiz Expert of the Year, work at Spectrum Boutique, Nastoy, and now if you wanted to talk about it's a new thing for you as a dropship expert, which I think is amazing, because nobody's really done that, but also like nobody's really done that. So any of the and then just your general life as a influencer, a sexual educator, and content creator. Again, I get to use this as an excuse, but like I get to learn too. I'm attempting to find my voice in my audience in some things, even though it looks different, but I know it's not easy trying to do any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say that I do a little bit of everything. And I like to say if I can't do it and I can't Google it, I'll tell someone.
I can at least call some people to find out, right?
Like if I can't do it, I like to say I know a guy that does. So like I can recommend somebody. But for the most part, I usually can figure it out. But I've had my blog for like almost a decade now. I've had Dildo or Dildon't.
That's so exciting. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, like this has been over a year now. I think 2 weeks ago, I got a little Facebook thing being like, "Oh, you did this."
Oh
I was like,
yeah,
"Wow!"
that's awesome.
And I still feel like I'm 2 weeks old. You know what I mean? But just like, wow, 10 years. Like consistency is key, right? I know
Yeah,
people are always
consistency
repeating
is
that.
key.
You think it's like just for fitness or something, but no, it's like really at the end of it, it's like whether I don't know. I guess that's imposter syndrome. It's like no, you just have to do it. It's whether
Yeah.
you need to stop. You know, whether it was good or not who cares? It was like you just need to do it. You got 10 years of content
like
now.
you'll figure out what's good and what's bad just by doing it. There's no other way to figure it out, honestly.
Yeah, that's really true, right? Taking a
Mhm.
risk even on not just written content, but even product, I could think.
Yeah,
right?
because like I'll go back to content that I've written 10 years ago and I was like, oh.
Ooh,
This
don't
is-
you hate that sometimes? Like I pull up an old spreadsheet or presentation and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I like pulled up an old like PowerPoint and I was like, oh, this is what I was doing. I was like, who thought this was good?
Yeah, I was like, what was I on a clip art high? What
Yeah.
happened? Or whatever. You're like, who was I taking the flex for? I don't remember. Okay,
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
I hear you though.
But I like to use all the things that I've learned to what I do now. And like, I've done a lot of different things before this industry. And I like to use that knowledge in here. And, you know, I do what I can.
Oh, so for anybody, you know, because in my head, in my heart, maybe there's like new people. And this is going to be, again, a cool show some days for someone to be like, wow, I don't know who these people are. I'm like just assuming everybody here knows Carly because she's had a decade long, at least, if not more,
For my
run
blog.
around this industry.
But
yeah.
I've been for
blog.
other stuff I've been doing like 15 years now. I was doing in the shops for like 15 years and I like managed stores. I was the buyer. I was
right. Start there. Like, how did you get to where you're at? Because I know she make it look good and easy, but again, it's the consistency and it's it's hard. It's like, how does I know it looks like poof, she's here and successful, but there's a lot that maybe you didn't see. Can we start?
Yeah, so I was working at a Harley Davidson and I thought that bikers were all open-minded leather people, and I did not realize that they were all really conservative Republicans. And I was like, oh, this really sucks. Because every time
leather community.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, this is terrible. They're all really racist and sexist and don't want to have any fun at these events. I was doing event planning and coordination and marketing for them. And I was like, oh, this is not what I expected at all. So
event coordination is a thankless job on its own, right?
Yeah.
You have to think about what everybody's going to think about without thinking about it.
It's cool. And like we had 3 events a week. So like I did like a ton of events monthly and like doing bike rides and charity events and all kinds of like holiday events and like everything you could think of. Like it was a lot of work. And I went in there with event experience and no marketing experience. And the person that had my job before was a marketing person. And so the marketing emails went from someone that did a graphic design with no marketing or like event experience to me who knew how to do events but no graphic design. So I was like doing clip art literally and then had to figure out really quickly how to make it not look like shit. To like really like figure it out quickly. But then I did figure it out and now I'm relatively okay with graphic design. But like
and now my Canva art skills are on point.
Yeah, really. Like now I can turn it out pretty quickly. But I figured it out and I was like, oh, this is not as fun as I want it to be. So I was like, where can I work that's going to be fun? And the Pleasure Chest was hiring and I got hired on as a supervisor because I have a ton of retail experience. Like that's where most of my experience is besides events and like food service. And I got hired and I loved it. I taught workshops there and I was like, wow, I'm really good at this. I could talk to people about this all day long. I love the toy. It was like I found where I was meant to be.
Like it was just seamless. Like,
Yeah.
this is
And
what more can I do? Like I love it so much.
yeah. And then I got promoted and I left for a little bit. I went to Romantic Depot and I managed their Bronx location, which was their biggest store at the time. And then I left there and I went back and I managed the Pleasure Chest West Village location, which is their like original location. And I brought workshops back to there because I really wanted to do events. And then
you just can't stop with the workshops
yeah,
and the events. Like you're like, I maybe don't need to coordinate them all and run them all, but I need to make sure that I'm part of them. Like I've got something to say.
Yeah. And I was really like, I want something to be able to like have that's mine that like people can reference when I'm talking at these workshops. So I started my blog and that's how I started the blog. And like social media was kind of an afterthought, but I had it. And I was one of the top salespeople in the company. I think the only one that was outselling me was Webb at the time. Because I really am sales motivated. I really like to sell things.
And you're still selling things all day. You've just been able to like, instead of calling it sales, you'd be like, well, I'm an expert because I happen to just, I don't know, wrap. People are always asking me, or at least it was a thought being like, okay, am I a salesperson or am I a marketing person? Because they oftentimes like they're two different departments depending on your strength, but also they're the same department. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely. So I know that's like something we have as a similar kind of thing in where it's like, well, if I'm not marketing anything, I'm not selling anything. And if I'm not selling anything, I have no conversation and no marketing. So it's like,
exactly.
They both need each other. But I love that you're like, I just figured it out.
Yeah.
No one was there to do this. And I wasn't like, well, I guess I'll just let the wheel keep spinning. You're like, I did something.
Yeah. And then during the pandemic, I like transitioned into doing customer service for Spectrum online. And they were like, oh, you could be doing way more for us. Like you're not doing.
You're like, go on.
Yeah. And I was like, yes, I absolutely could. So then I started doing product management and adding products and stuff like that. And
which gorgeous online boutique, if anybody doesn't or hasn't checked out Spectrum Boutique, right? Like you gals have done like a great job of just making it a curated boutique and trying the best to your ability of bringing that experience of the retail side of the floor to the page. But it's never the same, right? People are always walking into it's still retail's gonna bounce back. I know it's been hard, or at least everyone's been telling me it's been an interesting 18 months, but you can never replace, a Carly in store giving you whatever insight and information about A, B, and C. Even if she wrote it, it's still not the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always figuring out like what information do I need to add to the product listing online that like what would I say to a customer in store versus like what does someone need to read on the website that like they'll email me about that maybe I forgot to put on the product listing.
Oh, they're completely different voices.
Yeah.
I think who was I talking to about this recently where it was a lot of things get lost in translation, even just on my side of the desk to be like, no, supplier, you that just like thinks in rubber and like giant vats of rubber. I need certain things from you so that then I translate it not just into like, what I need to sell it to my buyers, but then what my buyers also need it to support their store staff. And then how the staff can differentiate between like, this is what a consumer needs. And why do I care? Why do I need to care about a bigger basket size or return customers or commodities, right? It's like a whole, and even if you're speaking the same language, you're sometimes not speaking the same language.
Yeah, absolutely. And Zoe's been my biggest cheerleader. She's been one of the best like bosses I've ever had. She was someone who really was like do all the things, get all the opportunities. Like she never held me back and was always like, you should absolutely do all the work for other companies if people are offering it to you. And that's how I started like doing freelance work for XBiz. And like then people started recognizing me more, even though I had been around for so long. And that just really got my name out there. And then,
and right, is that marketing or is that selling? It ended up being both, right? Like you're just all of a sudden people knew to come to me because I had a decade's worth of work to prove it, but also that didn't happen until people could find me easily.
Exactly.
It's like a very interesting.
Yeah, and Elliot hired me to do social media for NAS Toys because like Taylor was always saying how amazing I was, and Zoe was always saying how amazing I was, and then now Elliot sings my praises to other people and helps them like hire me for things, and I love doing product copy now, so like other people reach out for that because I get it done really quickly because like I just like doing it. It's just
naturally to you,
like I
right?
just enjoy doing it, so it's something I do quickly and in a way that other people don't. So now it's just
I can see the value just there where it's like, okay, I don't have to write you a 16-page brief on what this item actually does.
Yeah, people just send me the box
some of that stuff.
I
like,
know.
Here it is. You're like, oh yeah, I don't need to, and you know how to find any sort of resources or research you need. You know, again, you don't know, you've got a team of people you can reach out to, but it's such a kind of like what I'm doing here. I get a lot of people or like family, right, being like, well, you could really make this an actual podcast and go more like consumery and blah, 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 and do this. I'm like, but that's not what I'm trying to achieve right now, right? I just want to talk to the whatever 3,000 people on the P3 page that are like buyers, manufacturers, store staff, employees, people that are like looking to kind of merge like our super fun pleasure heads, right? But with our brains of like business. It's not just, a spit and a handshake. It's like an actual business, people. So it's like we still have to make money and think about how to make correct decisions, like the best of our ability, but also you still can be I always call it like authentic or approachable, right? It's like just because I'm selling condoms doesn't mean I don't know how to talk about a penis, but also doesn't mean that I want to talk about a penis all day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But like things like that only make sense. Like, how would I do that for a consumer? That would be like just hashtag she says penis too many times. Don't even turn her on. This is not going to be a thing. We're just gonna. This is just. I always said I wanted it to be like people were getting cocktails or a drink or like it just literally you're sitting on me catching up with a girlfriend, right? Like, how are things? What's happening? And then maybe people will be slightly inspired and learn something. But damn, has it been hard in the last, like, it's been a rough 18 months I was mentioning, but like, I don't know. I'm going to blame it on everything that's happening in the Saturn and the Pluto and them damn Capricorns. But seriously, it's been all of a sudden I looked up and it's like the last like 6 to 8 weeks have just been, I feel like I just saw you, but that was July. That wasn't just like, oh, I just saw her a little bit ago. So everything's going incredibly fast, but incredibly slow at the same time. Like I can't seem to like get my energy to go in the right spot because it's everywhere. But I feel like a lot of people are feeling that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just been crazy. Well, let's talk about some more things. That was a good tangent though. So we covered like a big bit of that was the introduction. That was good. Look at you. So again, because you were talking about all of a sudden you just grabbed work, like now's not the time to not work is what I was like telling somebody earlier. And you totally just brought it up again, even back in 2020 when it was a little bit busier and we enjoyed that sort of cash flow. It wasn't like, oh, let's not take any opportunities when they're handed to you, right? Yeah. Like, especially if something comes pretty easy to you, like go towards if the ether wants you to write blogs, go towards what feels natural, right? Because there's been I think I told somebody else like a stripping almost of like the bloat of some of the stuff we've been leveraging. At least I'm feeling it in our I don't want that in our side of the business, right? Like maybe there was a lot of like parties or like big marketing spends or huge advertisements or just like too many pamphlets, being handed out or printed. It's like a lot of that stuff is needed, but trying to focus on, yes, we also have to do the song and dance and make money and do whatever. But what is I feel like we've been able to find the balance some, but also we're on a very big overcorrection because there's a lot of panicking. But you took that and you've just been able to, again, you've been nominated for Sexpert of the Year. wait, 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
And then you've been able to teach. You've been on a bunch of. I know at least I've seen several of your. What do you call them? Like you said, a bunch of panels within the industry.
Mm-hmm.
People not only with education to help your store staff, but like how do you help like consumers, right? And you do your own pleasure things. And I think all of a sudden I meant to grab it. All of a sudden I got this little book and your name's like, oh, as a co-writer on it in there somewhere. So you just all over the place, right? So
what book did I go write?
I don't know. I gotta go find it. It was like this cute little like pamphlet thing. And I got it through one of the I will I didn't get to grab it. I'm just like talking about
Sometimes I forget about the things that I
yeah. So I'll get it here in a minute once I unplug from my headphones. But what do you believe makes what is the secret special sauce that you can share? Because you don't need to share everything, right? Because that's you. But like what do you need, right? What beliefs, what rules, or what I don't know, what's the playbook, right? If you're going to be an effective like sex educator and business lady, like how do you connect with both sides of that table, right? The translation is crazy. How do you manage all of that?
I really think it's authenticity. I think that if you're like speaking from a place of like no bullshit and just being real and not like finding the balance of like selling things but actually believing the things that you're saying, it's gonna read that, because I think that people can tell when you're trying to sell them something and you don't believe what you're saying. Because like I have toys tattooed on me that I actually love, and I've been in the store and people have seen that and they've been like, I'm gonna buy those toys, and then they've come back and they've been like, I love those toys. So like, I walk the walk, I talk the talk, and like if I think something is bad, I try and give constructive feedback on why I think that thing is bad. Like I don't think there are a ton of things that are just like inherently bad overall and like can't be fixed. But like,
kind of like the idea of like what someone said, there's no bad people, just bad choices, right? So there's no bad toys, just bad choices. Like we don't know why somebody maybe decided on that plastic over another plastic. So
and like I don't even think there's bad choices. I think there are better choices to be made, because like I majored in music, and like there's a thing in jazz, there's like no bad notes, only better choices. Like there's always just a better choice to be made. You never know why someone made that choice, and like maybe they didn't know better, or maybe they didn't have the money to buy something else, or maybe there wasn't a better available choice at the time. Like who knows?
Yeah, no, I like that. I'm very interested in, just in general, why people make the decisions that they make. So that kind of goes back to that, like, sort of just like curiosity of have the curiosity, but also have maybe a little bit of positive intent, because you don't know what you don't know.
I remember when the Womanizer lipstick came out and all the bloggers were ragging on it, and I thought it was the cutest thing that ever came out.
And you're like, what are you talking about? You have no idea how the technology that needed to go into making a motor that small and that
not
quiet.
Even just that, it was like mint green, which is like my favorite color. It was super cute. It was femme. It was like angled really cute. So like it actually worked really well for my body. And like all of them are just ragging on it. And I was just like, fuck you guys. Like, you don't get to decide that this doesn't work for everybody. Like, and like, you don't get to shame this thing that like I actually like. And like
what lipstick vibrators have you made lately?
Exactly. Like, and like that was also part of the reason why I started blogging, because like I really hated how shamey a lot of them were like a decade ago, because they would really talk in absolutes. And I truly believe that there are no absolutes, because like there's like a couple of
there was going to be
like don't put something in your butt that doesn't have a base. That's like the only absolute.
Yeah, that's right. It was the only things that you can guarantee in life are death and taxes.
Yeah,
and use a flange base.
Exactly. Like that's the only thing. And like
those are the only things that will always come true, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, we should There's a catchphrase in there. There's a t-shirt in there
Exactly. But like that was part of the reason why I really started writing my reviews, is because I would read them and I would be like, this doesn't tell me anything. This tells me the toy didn't work for you, but it doesn't tell me the positive and the negatives of the toy itself. So I can't make a decision about the toy based on if it didn't work for you. I'm not fucking you. Like,
right?
this toy's gonna fuck
But
me.
10 years ago, that was the writing style, right? Like you were talking about,
Exactly.
like some of my PowerPoints were very much just like overly worded just to like say things without saying things. I was like, that was the style of writing.
Yeah.
Now it's almost like, even on a label, you know, people that are like, because you're a product development nerd too, you can't have all this like fancy smancy, like not telling you what it is. You know, I worked on a product. It was, you know, it was called something like Renew, and nobody knew what it was. So you had to literally change it to like vaginal renew moisturizer kind of thing, because no one, you just all the like, oh, Oasis and nautical stuff. It's like, it used to be, that's what the labeling, you know, it needed to be clever and like incognito without being incognito. And now it's like, I don't know, nobody has time to read the extra words or something. I don't understand. It literally just has to be, and I'm the same. I'm like, no, I need an icon. You're going to tell me this is the BPA free? Yes. Check mark, check mark, check mark, done. Like I can't read a full situation anymore. I wonder what else. I'm just like thinking, excuse me, the writing styles changed. I know the selling styles changed a lot too.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know maybe it wasn't 10 years ago, but we'll say 20. A lot of the stores were likely dedicated to a lot more DVD space.
Oh, yeah.
Than toys, for sure.
We had a whole DVD room when I was working in the Bronx. Now that room is gone.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be interesting. I know there's going to be some change in this shift of, yes, there's always been a e-com versus retail, but now there's a lot more mature business investors kind of, I don't want to say infiltrating, but that's the word I'm using, into some of this. Like you got to remember Harry Flint was just a dude, right? And now he's like one of the, you know, was one of the pillars of the industry. So now you've got a lot of these, like, you know, built as a family, smaller, no one's a Fortune 500 company, you know, now turning 50 years old and becoming a different business, because you have to grow, you have to invest, you have to give the people what they want, as you were kind of saying. Like you won't know what people, you won't know that this is a trend. How many more roses can I sell? Nobody wants to sell that thing anymore, but that is what the people want, so to speak. Yeah. So there's influence in some things, but also you got to figure out like how you approach, in which I know you have a lot of experience, not just in all the bajillion hats you do now, but especially in Spectrum Boutique. Like how do you approach curating any of those collections and following the trends when I feel like they're changing weekly now?
Yeah.
Just insane. I don't know how you keep up with them.
Chronically online.
The internet's a good thing and a bad thing, though, right? Lots of doom scrolling is happening. I need to watch that.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess what have you? Hi, babies. We've had multiple hats, multiple facets of this said industry. What unique challenges and maybe any unique opportunities that you've kind of encountered in just balancing different roles that you're like, I don't think anybody else really could have brought, like, done any better or brought this, like for instance, you're like, I can do product development as well as I can do this, but it only made sense in this kind of like, you know, how does doing everything you do pay out, right? Like maybe somebody's there thinking, it seems like a lot of work, but how did doing all of that kind of like, you know, 10 years later, how's that paid off for you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that like my job is really easy because it's just like playing around with sex toys. But what they don't realize is that I have like 5 full-time jobs to make my rent.
Like on top of that too? Yeah.
Yeah, like Spectrum, Nowpack, NAS Toys, Cindy's, California Fantasies. Those are like my 5 full-time contracts. And that's how I pay my rent and live my life. I haven't been on a real vacation in years.
Which is this word vacation? You mean,
Yeah.
it's just store visits, no trainings? Just kidding.
Yeah, like I travel a lot and people see me traveling, but it's always for work. And
Yeah.
like I have fun at work trips, but like it's not a vacation, it's not relaxing. It's not like at a pool with my laptop closed. So it's a lot of work, and I don't think as many people respect that as I wish they would. Because my brain is always thinking about like I have to make content, I have to do this, I have to post for like 4 different things on top of my own account, I have to like write for XBiz, I have to write for this person, I have to like finish product copy, I have to like add more products, I have to do this, I have to do that. So like it's a lot of like juggling, like spinning plates, like making sure all the plates are still spinning. So if you don't have time management and you don't have like a will to work and live, you're not gonna make it. Because like I'm freelance and I'm not salaried for any of those jobs except for one. Like one of those jobs has me on a payroll. Everyone else,
Well, and even then, it's like not
yeah,
the whole world, but for the most part, most sales and or marketing contracts come with a, if nothing is selling, nobody's making money. But if
exactly.
we book these big numbers, people start making more money. So it's never a. I know some people think that's like, oh well, certain corporations, sure, but nobody in kind of this side of the industry is like sitting over there, just cutting millions of dollars without a blink of an eye, right?
Yeah,
These are like
exactly.
built
Like
from the ground up for the most part.
totally.
If things are being shuffled around, it's for a different reason, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely. But besides that, like things that I didn't anticipate in the industry is like microaggressions, fat phobia, stuff like that. Like sometimes if I post a reel or a TikTok or something on the Spectrum account, like Zoe could post very similar content and no one's gonna call her fat or anything. But like if I post a reel with like a sports sheet sling and I'll talk about like the benefits of it being accessible and like useful for people with bigger bodies, there'll be 100 comments about how fat I am.
Which thank you for sharing. I like my heart is just like sometimes can't people just, I don't know, I maybe grew up different where it was like cool, there's tolerance. If like why spend my energy, my happy magic on being negative and even like writing that out if it's not for you and you're not interested because that's not your body type, like go on. But otherwise I would feel like that is very useful content for different bodies because hi people, they exist. People, you look how you are, and every body is beautiful. Done.
Yeah, and I also like
there.
I have never been so miserable that I've been on the internet and I'm like, I gotta tell this person I don't like them. Like I personally don't get it. I would never do it, but like if it makes
and you know what? Yeah, and I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't exist or people make interesting choices when they're in interesting situations. But I have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'm still trying to like, how do I even explain it? Not that scenario specifically, but right, like 7-year-olds can be total dicks to one another. It's like, okay, how do you explain that? Taking the higher road is, yes, it's more work up front, but it's not really later on. Yeah. But like your brain is such a miser of your energy. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. But like, how do you explain that it's really, stay in your bubble because you can only control like your thoughts, but it's too hard. There's not enough support, not enough conversation for, I don't know. Are people really this angry and bored? Someday if I figure it out, like I still haven't figured out why people, how many people I still talk to. I'll be like, oh yeah, I sell, mostly condoms. And they're like, oh, I don't even use those. What's a condom? Ha ha ha. And you're just kind of like, I don't know when the world became that. But when I figure it out, I'll let you know. But I don't know that we ever will. Like, I guess that's why there's whole, studies on society and stuff like that out in the world, Tori.
Yeah. And at like Sex Expo a couple years ago, and this happens at like every event almost, people will confuse me for like other people, even though like I am very tattooed. Yeah. I don't look like other people. And they'll confuse me for like Dirty Lola or like Kit from Museum of Sex. And it's like, do you confuse me for just other like brown fat people?
Yeah, do you just see tattoo equals like curvy tattoo equals same person here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe people just aren't paying attention. But also, why are we not paying attention anymore? Why are we so grumpy we can't even read labels?
Exactly.
I'm just saying I'm one of them. This is where our world's at. I don't even want to read a label. I'm like it's the mental exhaustion. Like you were just even talking about, like you wish other people could almost, respect a boundary, because it's not, even if you're sitting there at the pool, your brain is doing this. It's not you're not like, hey, I'm not trying to be crabby, or I'm holier than thou. I literally am just, trying to please 5 different companies right now. And I have the benefit of being able to kind of blend them all together because it's my talent, but also the this part that nobody sees, and people that are married maybe understand this too, where it's like sometimes you think you and your partner are on the same page, and maybe you're not. And I guess any significant relationship, and then all of a sudden you're spending a lot of time planning your trip or whatever it is. And then somebody says, oh, well, where's the hotel? Like, give me the hotel address. And you're like, I printed this itinerary, I put it on your Google thing, and I did the thing, and you can't even do that. Now I have to go back and do all the things. Like it's the mental energy, and I don't know why the world is out of it. Like we're all out of spoons, so to speak. So I don't know what's happened, but I'll let you know if I figure it out. Apparently we're not even having enough sex, because numbers have been down pretty much across the board for everybody. So it's not even, are we not having responsible sex? I don't even know where the world is. Just something's got to get better, right? Okay, well, so this will be the section of, we'll have question and answer section. Pause for a minute for me to throw up any of the stuff when I do this live. If people have it's not quite an ask me anything, but what do you want to ask the Carly? She'll have to chime in later, and we'll like do the comments tomorrow and be like, hey, she's here if you need help. And I'll put up well, I'll let you do your shameless plug too in a minute. We'll put up like your Makeup and Sin cute. I'll attempt to do the fun banners and things that this program is supposed to do. It's going to be great, right? So we'll do the final remarks portion, where it's like, hey, thanks for coming, but now is the time for you to leave us with some wise words of wisdom, and do all the shameless plugging, because it's been awesome. And if people want to come find you and like read your 10-year-old blog,
I mean, there's writing. I still post. I still post.
No, hey, I might start a blog. It sounds like an easy way to just have people, but then I got to figure out, I got to make this a real thing then. So I don't know. I'm scared. We'll talk about that later, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do it. We'll find out. But other than holding my hand,
blogging is not dead. I say start a blog. But yes, check out dildo or dildone.com. I still use it. I still review stuff every once in a while. Summer is not over. You can hear Mr. Softy.
Hi. She's got to go in a minute, guys. We got to go get her. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. I got to go.
I got to go. I still, you know what? There's something to that nostalgia marketing. Really. Well, right, nostalgia marketing is really hot right now for things like this. Like, I just got to go get my dopamine happy of like pretend I'm a kid and go run for the ice cream truck.
But yeah, Makeup and Sin on all social media, all of it. If there's a new platform, I try and grab Makeup and Sin. So that's everything, even like Pokemon Go. I am Makeup and Sin.
That's adorable.
Yep, I like branding across the board.
Smart.
And I'm going to be talking at FatCon in Philly in October. So that's the next big teaching. I'm going to be on a panel about fat and fucking and all that good stuff. So if people want to send me stuff to raffle off, message me.
We'll send you a box of condoms, girls.
There you go. I love to give out goodies at any panel that I'm at. So if companies want to give some horny fatties some goodies, let me know.
Right? People are all just people. I love this. How empowering. No, I'll send me your address later. I'll see what we have. Right?
Hell yeah.
Send you some studded condoms. It'll be fun. Why not?
Hell
right? Pleasure and safety are not mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
I know lube always got that rep too. Like, oh, I don't need to use it. I'll be like, can you be flavored or tingly? It's the same thing. Like, cool.
I
But
always
also,
like to
there's
think that
enhancement
the
here.
people that are like, I don't need lube, I like to think that they snail trail home.
I also like to think that they are still using coconut oil or olive oil, and
Something.
you
Yeah.
know, so their pH is all messed up, and that's why nothing works anyways.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm not bitter anyway. All right. Anything else you want to leave us with before I'll cut this Tory off and paste in a goodbye later?
Thanks for listening, and I hope some new folks discover me and hire me. I'm still always available for more work.
No, this is perfect. I will definitely make sure that people know how to get a hold of you if you need writing, or we can like team up and do like a super project one day. It could be fun.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm all about it. Just because, again, we gotta just keep. I don't know. If there's anything again I've learned in the last 18 months. It's like, if it's not working, don't force it. So go do what makes sense. Maybe make a blog and bother Carly about it again. Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out.
Fix your product copy. I can fix your product copy. I fixed Melrose and LA Pumps, and
nice.
I think I got their SEO up a little bit. I'm just saying, if you fix your product copy,
guys. The joy of networking, right? The best marketing campaign is still the one. You know, when my girlfriend Carly says, "Oh, hey, try this one," I take that review way more seriously than anything else I'm going to Google. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Professional pervert. I put my body on the line all the time. I try pretty much all the products.
I feel like I got to call that one out. Professional with that cute little face you made earlier.
Yeah.
It was your new meme. Little gif. Oh, adorable. Well, thank you so much for coming, Carly.
Yeah.